This is part 3 of cooperative learning, where I describe a couple of specific activities. More activities can be found in my book. The first one is a very simple idea. It's cooperative learning called Foursquare that can be adopted and adapted to a variety of settings. Again, once you understand the principles, you can adopt and adapt these to a variety of settings. One way to use it is a post-reading or a post-lesson activity. Here, students record an important idea, one idea from the assigned chapter, book, or lecture. They write it on a piece of paper. They bring the idea to a small cooperative group. In the group, they must all write their idea in a square, hence Foursquare. Afterwards, then, they have to look at all the ideas, and their group has to come up with a big idea, interesting association, or a conclusion based on all the ideas. Now, this seems a little vague at first, but they get it after doing this a couple of times. They become more comfortable. Here are some possible roles that you can use to add structure to this if you wish. However, the idea of each of them having to write their idea in the square creates structure and creates positive interaction. The next idea, so simple that it works. Thinkpairs. It enhances processing time and thinking time during discussions or other projects. Think about, this is a strategy where you give your students time to think about a question. They write their initial idea on a piece of paper, give them the big question or a big idea, write your initial idea on a paper, turn to a neighbor and share your idea. Quick and easy. This takes like about a minute. It is active learning in that it gets them to interact with the material at a deeper level. They have to understand it and explain it to someone else. And this can be used to get them up and physically moving. You can say, share your idea with someone across the room. Share your idea with someone you have not talked with. As well, it creates human interaction. It allows students to have social interaction, gives them an excuse with a variety of students whom they might not normally interact with, Thinkpairshare, here it is in visual form. Boop, 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 boop. Pairs check. Another simple idea. You give one assignment to two students. Think about a math assignment or a post-reading assignment, all right? So they work in pairs to complete assignment or solve the problem. Now, only one of them works while the other observes and checks. The checker, you can guide or give advice, but you cannot solve the problem. It's the thinking and the conversation that occurs. This dynamic enables students to hear the thoughts of others during the process and enhances learning. Simple idea. Most of the good ideas in education are simple. Jigsaw, a little bit more complicated. Students start off in a base group of 3 to 5, and I'm going to give you 2 examples of this, so if it seems rather abstract, don't panic. Then they move to an expert group. Each member of that group goes to a separate expert group to get specific knowledge and skills. Once they get the knowledge and skills, they come back to the base group to share their knowledge. Then they have to put all the pieces of the puzzle together so the task can be accomplished. Base group, go off into expert groups, come back to base group, use the knowledge to put the puzzle together. Let me explain. Use this a lot for studying for exams. I give small groups a study guide. They meet in base group. The study guide is broken into 4 sections. Each person in the 4-person group moves to an expert group to study that portion of the study guide. Then they come back to base group, and each one is an expert on that portion. They share their ideas and answers. Number 2, reading expository chapter as a pre or a post-reading activity. Meet in base groups. move into expert groups, and in expert groups, each person is assigned to read a part of the chapter in their expert groups. The expert group might want to have one oral reader and note takers as well. You decide. They come back into base group again, and they create an outline for the chapter based on this. So they all have read different parts of the chapter. In their expert groups, they take notes just on that part, come back to base group, and they create an outline based on their expert groups. You could use this as a pre-reading activity. It gives them structure so they know exactly what they're reading, or a post-reading activity where they take notes on what they have read. Limited only by your imagination here. And the last one is called Group Read. It's a cooperative learning activity. It enables readers of all levels to interact with concepts from the assigned chapters, and it keeps lower level readers from falling behind conceptually. Here's what you do. You put students in heterogeneous groups, students of different reading abilities, and I would say anywhere from 3 to 8 people. And again, adopt and adapt. Here are some roles that you might assign. You can pause here if you need. What happens? Students read the assigned chapter, all right? Everyone has a copy. As they are reading, one person is assigned to be the reader. President, of course, makes all decisions and makes all assignments. You can have an idea pointer. The idea pointer will put a pencil dot next to the important ideas, and as they go back, the note taker then records the important ideas. Some people like to read it all the way through and then get their ideas and notes later. Some people like to stop after every section. And again, you decide, adopt and adapt. So students read and engage in some post-reading product or performance. And again, here's where you could create something artistically. You could have an outline. You could have a speaker present the ideas. A mime makes a nonverbal display, limited only by your imagination. And again, if you have the basic idea, you can find the specifics in my book. You can get tons of cooperative learning activities. You don't have to rely on me. You don't even have to rely on my wonderful book. Simply do a Google search using some or all of these terms, and you'll get more ideas than you can shake a stick at, if that's your idea of a good time. This has been another short lecture, this on some specific strategies related to cooperative learning.